Welcome to Not the Retirement Show. I'm Robin.
Hi, and I'm Bill. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, today we're talking about 5 money tips to do successful early retirement planning.
Yeah, I think maybe let's just be clear about what that title is, because we're not talking about early retirement, we're talking about early retirement planning. And there's a huge difference.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, I think a lot of people get mixed up with, when you say it that way, I think people do get mixed up with it. Early retirement is that you retire from, your work, whatever, you retire early. In other words, if you're scheduled to retire at age 65, you may say, you know what, like I did, I retired early, but it might be 1 or maybe 2 years prior to that. So it could be age 64 or 63 or 62. That's taking early retirement. But what we're talking about today is planning for your retirement sooner, early.
In advance.
Well in advance.
Okay. Well, I like this topic because in my personal humble opinion, it's never too soon to be thinking about planning for your future.
Well, yeah, that's right. But I think you've got to be somewhat realistic about that. In other words, when you're in your 20s or 25, 30, in there someplace, you talk to people about planning for retirement, nobody's going to listen to you. They're focused on other things. They're focused on their career. They're focused on, perhaps getting married, a family, a house, these sort of things, buying a new car or things like that. So they're not going to pay much attention to it. But there comes a point in time, I don't know if it's an age-defined point in time as such, but I would have thought that by age 40, give or take, you're going to be, or you should be, starting to say, wait a minute, let me do some planning for this.
Well, I completely agree with you. And one of the big things that I think people need to understand is it's well and good to say that you're going to retire at 50, freedom 55, hit the road, enjoy life. That's amazing. But there's a trade-off for every year that you do not work and how you're going to be able to save for retirement.
Well, that's right, because in the retirement years, your income stream, your cash flow, if you wish, is going to change probably, certainly for most people, because you're going to go from a regular income, weekly wage or monthly salary, whatever that may be, when you're working, into, let's call it just pension driven or investment. Obviously, you're going to have some investments, hopefully, where you're going to get some cash flow, some dividends, interest, whatever. But you're going to go into a pension based income. And if when you're doing your planning, you're not taking that into consideration, you're not being aware of how much you're putting into your pension today at age, let's say 40, okay, then when you do hit that retirement age, if you haven't been doing that early enough and strongly enough, then when you do get to that retirement, age, and you start to go into the pension-based income, your pension-based income is going to be a lot lower than you would otherwise have hoped for.
So for us dummies, what that basically means is for every year that you plan to retire in advance of normal retirement age, let's say 65, then you've got to have saved not just the normal amount for retirement, you've got to have saved extra money to make up for the fact that you're not going to be working and getting a paycheck and having investments for those years between when you retire and the age of 65.
Well, and I think you use the investment word there quite correctly. People get mixed up with this as well. When do you invest? How do you invest? If you can, we understand that. But, what do you invest in? Now, I don't want to go into the detail or deep discussion about types of investment, but I would make this one point. While you are working and you have income coming in, guaranteed income, if you can say it that way, standard income, every month you're going to get sort of the same amount, okay? And you can save and you can put it away. When you come to the investing side of that, the savings plan, if you wish, you got to differentiate between, in your working years, you want to have what I would call a value-based investment plan as opposed to a cash flow investment plan.
Wait a minute, you're using big words again.
Right.
But like, break it down for us. What does that literally mean?
A value-based investment plan is that if you can put, let's just use $1,000 as an example. You put $1,000 into, a savings plan for later life, for your retirement fund, if you prefer. You want that $1,000 to be $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 when you retire. Okay, that's value driven. So the value of your $1,000 is going to go up. Okay, what you don't really want to be doing is putting into a cash flow investment at age whatever it was, say 40, because all that's going to do is it's not going to increase in value much, but it's going to give you cash flow spinning off of the investment, like in a mutual fund or something like that, which is fine. But keep in mind, you've already got a standard income. You've got a weekly wage or a monthly income, etc. When you get to the point of retirement and you go into pension-based income, you've also got, as I said a few minutes ago, the investment side of all your savings have accumulated. You're going to get more cash flow coming away or coming out of the value-based investment, which you did 20 years ago, as opposed to the cash flow one. So in the pension era, in the retirement years, you're going to switch over from a value-based investment plan to cash flow investment plan because you need the cash.
Okay, so what you're making me really think here is we need to point out the obvious at this point. Bill is a qualified CA from Scotland, but we are not certified financial planners. So we are sharing this advice for information purposes only. And I think what today's conversation is really bringing to light is how important it is that you actually do talk to a certified financial planner, investment advisor, someone like that, if you are thinking about your retirement plan, to make sure that you're A, doing it right, B, that you understand it, and C, that your plan is realistic for the lifestyle that you want to have. Because it's all well and good to have a retirement dream, but you need to know what that dream is actually going to cost you. It's not good enough to simply say, oh, I'm going to go and retire in Mexico where everything's really cheap. Well, what does it actually cost to live in Mexico where you want to live today? And if your retirement is several years down the road, what's it likely to cost at that point in time? Because if you don't know those things, how do you know that you're planning adequately now?
That's right, because in retirement, cash is king.
You're always
It's
saying
as simple
that.
as that. Cash is king. You need cash in retirement. You may still want to grow your investments. Nothing wrong with that, because you may have an inheritance issue. You want to leave estate for the kids or the grandkids. But for your life, you need the cash. Prepare early to make sure that when you get to those years, you will have the cash.
Well, I hope we've got you thinking about your future retirement, whether that is in the near future or a long time from now. We do all kinds of videos about every aspect of planning for and living a successful retirement life. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please like and subscribe, and we will chat with you again soon.
Bye.